Hela osa, bila ombame, alun kapai di, ente berlomba, lomba hai bacota, salah bukan sah, lalu awai pun, salah awai ba, kata hela osa, bila ombame, alun kapai di, ente berlomba, lomba hai bacota. Salah bukan sah, lalu awal pun salah awal bagai tahela osa.
Hei, ya apa kabar Rek?
Buhaba mendum.
Kumaha damang?
Apa kabar semuanya?
So, how are you today?
So you said how are you today? Yes. So the simulation of our dance itself is from Aceh. It's called Saman. Saman is one of the opening dance from Indonesia, and it has an implicit message. It means that teamwork and also one for all. As we know that we can see here that we are from Indonesia, where I'm Jama from Aceh and I'm Dila from Bandung over here, and then Pandu from Yogyakarta and also Fia from Surabaya.
Yeah.
So we have, even though we are in one land, Java, we have a very diverse of dialect. Okay.
Alright, because as we know that our country is a diverse country, I'm gonna tell you a social gap because of the diversity itself, it could make a conflict among the society itself, right? So we have many ethnics, different cultures, different religions, and then different language and many more. So because of that, sometimes it could make a conflict among the society. Let me give you example. For example, in Jakarta itself, there is still happening, let's say that student brawls, right? Student brawls because of the ego of each student itself. It's just a simple problem, and it could make a conflict among the student itself. Yeah. And then it's just for example, right? And then another example is the conflict among the ethnics in the Papua, right? Just for an example, because each of the ethnics in the Papua itself has, let's say, has their own tradition. Because of that, sometimes it could make a conflict between the ethnics A and ethnics B, right? And then not only social gap, we have agriculture in the environmental itself. I think that it's still happening in most of the big cities, in the some of the countries, right? We have air pollution, right? Because as we know that some of the big cities in Indonesia, for example, Jakarta, Bandung, Yogyakarta, Surabaya, the most of the society in their cities use not using public transportation. They choose to use private transportation like a car and motorcycle. So as you know that year by year, the total of the user of the private transportation is increasing. So it could make a traffic jam in everywhere, and it can make a air pollution, yeah. And then besides the air pollution itself, there is burn forest cases. Burn forest cases which is happening in the Riau and then the Borneo, and it's still happening right now. And then you know, the most of the forest in the Borneo and then the Riau itself is burned and has changed into, let's say, the palm oil field, and you know, it's not good for the environmental itself, right? And then
I also want to talk a bit about the politics in Indonesia. You know that in 60s, there's something happened in Indonesia. There's a lot of genocide in Indonesia among the communist people. there's millions people killed on the street, millions people killed on the cities, millions people killed on the village, and after that, there's Suharto become a president for 32 years. He created propaganda that make communist people become what is it called, like they move from Indonesia. They cannot live in Indonesia. So only in 2014, after Jokowi, which is only 2 years ago, we can talk freely about communists. So before that, it's illegal to talk about the communists itself. So in that time, after the genocide, our economy has fallen like 1,000% after that. Suharto fall in 1998. There's a student movement all over Indonesia. They came to Jakarta and they something like that. And in that time, Suharto said that he will stop to be a president.
Okay, maybe that's a little bit about the ugly truth about Indonesia, but I want to all of you forget about that because we are going to the next stage is about the beauty of Indonesia. Indonesia has 13,040 60 for the big island and the small one. Yeah, it's a very big one. We are the largest island country in the world. And then, because of that, if you want to visit every single island in Indonesia, you will spend 37 years, even though you only stay for a day.
Yeah.
So you can imagine that if you want to travel all over Indonesia, you have to prepare 37 years for only one day. And then from Indonesia is from Aceh, Sabang to Merauke. It's the distance is 5,428 kilometers. It means it's similar distance between Iran, Tehran to London. It will across 10 countries. And then Indonesia itself is a home for 1,128 ethnic group. We know that from Aceh to Papua, we have Batak, we have Aceh, we have Papua Sundanese, Javanese, and also there is from Maluku. And then we have 748 dialect or tradition, local language. And then we have also 1,000 of food and also beverage. It's very different in any from Sumatra is different with the Javanese, and even from Bandung and also Surabaya also different. And we have also various flora and fauna. And a very popular one from Indonesia is orang utan. You can find anywhere else. Yeah, maybe some country has orang utan because of they take it from Indonesia. And then the other name is bekantan.
I said that in the game.
Yes, and then from Indonesia also very popular is Malaysia, also quite bit similar with Malaysia. And then this is the beauty of Indonesia. You know the Raja Ampat place in nearby Papua. It's called a heaven in earth. Because a very beautiful place. Even go to Raja Ampat is
more expensive than go to London.
Yeah, right. And then we have a blue fire.
Is it a heaven?
Lake Toba is in Sumatra. And then we have Krakatau. Krakatau is very much popular volcano mountain.
Yeah, there's a volcano eruption.
Yeah. And then we have a Wakatobi. You can see the beauty of sea underwater. And then the other part, because Indonesia is also quite popular with all volcano mountain here.
The unique effect about this destination is sometimes if you travel from your city to this destination, you need a lot of effort. First, a lot of money. I mean, like you need to go to Raja Ampat is more expensive sometimes to go to London from Jakarta. So people prefer to go to London. And I ever been to go to Wakatobi. It took like 3 days on the boat.
3 days?
3 days, and there is a flight and only one flight a day, but it's quite expensive. And the airport is is it's so scary.
And also Indonesia is home of various dance and also cultures. Tradition, and one of them is Saman, what we have performed earlier, and then we have Borobudur, one of heritage in the world, and then Tari Kecak if you go to Bali, and then this Tari Perang is just like doing a war in Papua. Okay, we just showed you that why we presented the ugly truth first about Indonesia, because we know that Indonesia is not perfect, but we're making sure that Indonesia is awesome. You're very welcome to come to Indonesia.
Oh, awesome.
Great.